just a disclaimer, just so you're aware, I will not be held responsible if you break your IMRC. What's happening there, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be looking at the IMRC and the P1518 code. Brings up the engine management light. It's an absolute pain in the fucking arse, but I'm going to show you the way I'd fix it. Probably not the best way. I could easily recommend someone on Facebook who actually does repair these on a daily basis. So if you want information on him, if you're not confident with the soldering iron, hit me up on social media. Links are down in the description. Now, let's get the IMRC out of that shit heap, and I'll show you how to fix it, and we'll throw it back in, and we'll see if it works. You never know, it might just fucking work. Alright guys, so this is the IMRC unit. It stands for inlet manifold runner control. There is actually a plate at the back, you can see there, and that bolts to the plate. So there's one bolt on this side and two, you should just be able to see that. Alright, so there's the DSI clip, and when the car starts, that should pull back. So as you can see, it's obviously not pulling back, so we're going to take it off. Right, so as you can see, the IMRC is up. Now there's the wire that runs to the DSI clip, and then underneath that there is a plug with a push pin. Literally just push that in and that'll come out, and then the next bit is the wire which runs to the DSI clip. Yeah, there's the DSI clip, so we've got to remove this cable. That's the rocker, so when you start the car, that should pull back, the IMRC should pull that all the way back. I can't do it without getting my fingers in the way, but that should pull all the way back, and it should stay there until you hit over 5,000 RPM, and then it'll close. In turn, it'll open the bigger ports. But if this ain't working right, you will get really shit fuel consumption, as well as if it's not working, you'll get boggy gears, first and second, and that like lack of power, and just really bad fueling. Right, so that's there. From there, see, there's the cable. Don't worry, the end's just slid down. So that's what it looks like on the inside. It's literally slides over that. So now that that's off of there, we've got to get it out of there. Right, so now we've got to get this out of here. So if you've got some needle nose pliers, they do the trick. So literally just get your needle nose pliers, put them in the top, and then slide them down like that. I know you're not going to see that very well. Then you should just be able to pull that all the way out. Magic. One IMRC. Right guys, here's the IMRC. It's off the car. So the first thing we need to do is take this back plate off and take out these 4 screws, and then we'll have a look at the internals. Right, it's not as simple as just pulling this off, because this unit is entirely sealed. These are from B&Q. They're just an array of X-Acto blades. You do get 3, but The other one is in the toolbox. Almost just like a scraper. So we'll be using that one. And there's the IMRC. Oh, look at that, nasty. Right, so you got the motor here, you got several cogs which then operate the spring under this circuit board, which then pulls this wire which will open the IMRC. So what we need to do is we need to undo these screws. There is 6, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got a little one down there. That one holds the transistor against the body, so it creates an electrical ground. We'll get these screws out, just be careful because they are quite stiff if you've not opened it before. Right, and now you can't lift that up. It's unscrewed, but you can't lift it up. This circuit board is soldered to this connector by these 6 solders here. So these are glued in. So you've got 2 options. You can either unsolder these 6 pins, but then you're going to have to resolder them, or you can chop away at the glue and then take it all out together. And I'm going to be doing the latter because I'm not unsoldering these because it's more soldering work. So I'm going to chop the glue out of here and we'll take the circuit board out. That is all glue all the way around it just to stop water getting in, so we're going to have to get all that away from the connector. Just make sure you don't damage the connector. Alright, you'll get to a certain point where you'll find you'll get in almost there. As you can see here, look, all the glue is now coming off quite easy. As you can see from here, all the glue is now gone from around the edge. And we're out, look at that. That's the main gubbins of it. So obviously this is the plug where you connect it up to the ECU. You've got a metal brass contact there, and then you've got a transistor here. Now this transistor's the issue, primarily it's the issue, but I'll show you how we're going to replace that. Alright, so I'll flip the circuit board over. This is going to take some soldering. So you see these 3 pins here. Obviously if I flip it over here, that's the transistor we'll be replacing. So when you flip it over, it's these 3 pins here. Alright, so that is the replacement transistor. You are going to need some thermal paste just to put on the back here. We're going to clean that up because the back side of this transistor goes against here, and the thermal paste is basically to create a better connection between the circuit board and the housing, so it'll work. So we're going to have to clean that up as well. Right, so unsoldered that and it's knackered. It was actually snapped in 2 places where the legs joined, so it was literally just knackered. Right, so we got to this point where the old one is out, and now you got the new one. just fettle it in. Trying to work which way it goes, that way. Right. As long as you've done it correctly, you should now have them poking through there. Woohoo! It's always good fun. So what you need to do now is get this hole that is in the side of the transistor to line up with this hole in the circuit board, because obviously that's where the screw goes through. Obviously it looks like that, and the screw will go through there. And make sure you put this in the right way as well, because the black bit goes against the circuit board and the silver bit, shiny bit, faces upwards. So we've now got to work out at what point to bend it. That is now all soldered into place, and no, I'm not the best solderer in the world, but it's soldered down. Now we'll tackle the little brass contact. What I find works well is little Dremel bits. They work really well. Get between the brass contact and the top of the contact, and just give it a quick little file down. Now, can you see how it's like no longer brassy, shiny? So you want it? Right. Now that that is all done, now we're going to get back onto the body of the IMRC, and I'll show you what I do with that bit. You have a look here where the spring goes. So that little bar catches the spring and pulls it round, but the spring can come loose, and what it can do is it can actually go over this bar when it's pulling tight. So if you want to, you can just slap some chemical metal on it, or you can do what I do and do it the daft way. Buy yourself a little cheap Dremel, get the ball ended piece with the Dremel. Where that spring hits on there, I'm literally just going to put a little divot in it, so when the spring goes in it, it will catch in that little ridge, and it will basically reduce its chances of popping out. Basically what you want to do, hold the big cog with one hand, and just, you'll see where the springs, hang on, let me turn this off. You'll see where the spring's been catching on it. You basically want it in that pretty much the same place. So you can see where it's been hitting, because there's a little black mark. See that little black mark? So you basically just want to Dremel there, because that's obviously where the spring is catching. But you can see how the mark is like a little line. That's where it's been slipping. So this is just going to Dremel a tiny little divot into it, so it's got something to catch. As you can see, I've literally just put a little hole in it. And that is it. Right, all we've got to do now is get the circuit board back. We've put a hole in, we've put a little dimple in there just to catch the spring. We've cleaned up the contact on both sides, and we put a new transistor on it. As I said, I'll leave a link to the transistor down in the links below. The next thing you will need to get is some of this. Now this is thermal paste. You can get this off Amazon. I'll leave a link to where I got it. This is MX4. You get it in a little syringe. On the back side of this transistor, you can't see them, there's microscopic little holes in it, and then there's obviously microscopic grooves and cracks all in the case. So to make it all smooth and to get a good contact and good connection, use a little bit of thermal paste. You literally need like a pea-sized amount. I've cleaned all the thermal paste off of there, but as you can see, there's tiny little scratches and tiny little holes. So to make a good contact, we use a bit of thermal paste on that. And right, a bit of thermal paste on there. Right, now we're going to replace all the screws, put all the screws back in. Remember, the little one goes in there to hold the transistor down, and that is your lot. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that should now work, because it was fucked before. So we need to make sure that does now work. Alright, reassembly. Right, back at the car. I'm absolutely sweating my knackers off, as you can see, hiding in the shade. But we're going to get this IMRC thrown back on, and we're going to see if it works. Nice if it does, wouldn't it? Because mine's packed up. It's been a pain in the fucking arse. But we'll throw this one on and see how we get on with it. Back in the heat. Here we go. Don't forget to plug that back in. So if you just put the wire back into that gap like that, and then you can push that up now from the back, and that is clipped in. If you pull that plastic bit up, remember it's got the slide on bit, so it's basically a washer, and you slide over it. So we now have to pull that DSI clip towards the front. Put that over it. See, it's not clipped in yet. And then literally push it back, you get the click, and that's it. And now hopefully, now that that's all connected up, when I start the car, this should just pull back and stay like that, at that angle. And then when you're over 5,000 RPM, it'll close that, of which it'll open the second lot of inlet port. Now it's time for the moment of truth. I know she'll start, but is it going to work? Right guys, that is it. IMRC is now on, fully working, and it was literally three things that you could do and it could work. I'm not saying these are the, you're going to do it and it's going to work, but these are the three most common things on the IMRC to go wrong. The transistor, the connection on the brass tab that flicks up and down, and the spring coming off of that plate. Just a disclaimer, just so you're aware, I will not be held responsible. If you break your IMRC, if you're no good with electronics, if you're no good with circuit boards, and these are tiny, these are absolutely tiny, I'm not going to be held responsible. You do it yourself, you do it on your own back. If you break it, it's your own fault. Just putting that out there. I've done this because I wouldn't say I'm tight, that I just like doing things by myself. I just like giving things a go. But if you ain't any good at soldering, hit me up on social media. The links for my social media are down below. There is a man I know that does this 5 days a week. He is literally known as the IMRC Doctor on Facebook. He will do these pretty quick as well. He's literally shit hot. He's been doing it for years. He knows what he's doing. I literally just wanted to give it a go. I've got quite a little bit of experience with soldering iron, so it's all good fun for me. If you thought this video was good, please hit the like button. If you really want to help the channel, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Just be cautious burning your fingers on soldering irons. They're fucking hot.